But silence doesn't just protect you from others, it also protects your peace. When you refrain from reacting, you create space to process your emotions, to think clearly, and to respond not out of impulse, but with intention, if you choose to respond at all. Silence allows you to maintain control over your narrative instead of letting someone else dictate the terms of the conversation. Think of silence as a boundary. It's a way of saying, this is where my energy ends and yours begins. It's not about being cold or dismissive. It's about recognizing that not every situation or person deserves a response. Silence puts the power back in your hands, reminding you that you are the one who decides how and when to engage. It's important to understand that silence is not synonymous with weakness. On the contrary, it takes incredible strength to hold your tongue, to resist the urge to react, and to trust that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's opinion. Silence often intimidates those who expect a reaction because it leaves them with questions. What are you thinking? What are you planning? How are you feeling? Your silence forces them to sit with their own uncertainty, which is often more powerful than any words you could say. Silence also allows you to observe. When you're not busy reacting, you can see people's true intentions, hear what's being said between the lines, and understand situations on a deeper level. It gives you clarity and perspective, which are invaluable in making decisions that serve your best interests. In relationships, silence can set the tone for how you deserve to be treated. When someone crosses a line and you respond with silence, you're letting them know that their behavior isn't worth your time or energy. It's a quiet but firm way of asserting your boundaries without engaging in unnecessary drama or conflict. There's a common misconception that walking away from people, especially those you've cared about or shared history with, is an act of selfishness. But let me tell you something: deciding to cut someone off, especially when their presence harms your peace, is one of the most profound acts of self-love you can perform. It's not about abandoning others, it's about choosing yourself. Self-love means recognizing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less than respect, kindness, and reciprocity in your relationships. Sometimes the people we hold on to are the very ones holding us back. It could be their negativity, their inability to support your growth, or their toxic behavior. Whatever the reason, continuing to allow someone access to your life when they no longer contribute positively to it is an act of self-neglect. Cutting someone off doesn't mean you hate them or wish them ill. It doesn't even mean they're a bad person. It simply means that their presence in your life no longer aligns with the person you are or the person you're striving to become. It's about understanding that relationships should nurture you, not drain you. When you let go of people who no longer fit into your life's vision, you're making room for the people, opportunities, and experiences that do. It's also important to realize that staying in unhealthy or one-sided relationships isn't noble, it's harmful. It sends a message to yourself that your needs, feelings, and well-being are less important than someone else's comfort or convenience. When you cut someone off, you're telling yourself, I deserve better than this. And that's not selfish, that's growth. Many of us struggle with guilt when it comes to ending relationships, especially if we've been conditioned to put others before ourselves. But guilt is often misplaced. The truth is, you're not responsible for fixing anyone else's life. You're not obligated to remain in a relationship where your boundaries are violated, your energy is depleted, or your value is questioned. Think about the emotional weight that comes with holding on to someone who doesn't serve your peace. It's like carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks everywhere you go. Over time, that weight takes a toll on your spirit, your happiness, and even your physical health. Cutting someone off is the act of taking that backpack off and choosing to walk freely. It's not an easy decision. Cutting someone off often comes with moments of doubt, sadness, and even loneliness. But it's in those moments that you're reminded of the strength it takes to prioritize your own well-being. Self-love isn't about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about making hard decisions that protect your heart, even when those decisions are uncomfortable. And let's be honest, some people will call you selfish for walking away. They may label you as cold or uncaring because your choice to step back makes them confront their own behavior or shortcomings. But remember, people who truly love and respect you will understand your need to protect your peace. Those who don't, their opinions are not your burden to carry. Cutting people off is not about punishing them, it's about preserving yourself. It's about creating boundaries that allow you to thrive instead of just survive. It's about recognizing that your time, energy, and presence are gifts, and not everyone is entitled to them. When you cut people off, you're not closing yourself off to love or connection, you're clearing the path for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Self-love is not always easy, and it doesn't always look pretty. Sometimes it looks like silence, distance, and the courage to say no more. It's about choosing peace over chaos, growth over stagnation, and self-respect over approval. And that choice, that's not selfish, that's liberation. One of the hardest truths to accept is that you don't owe everyone an explanation. It's human nature to want to explain ourselves, to justify our actions, and to seek understanding from others. But the reality is not everyone is entitled to know your reasons, your plans, or your decisions. In fact, offering explanations to the wrong people can often do more harm than good. When you explain yourself to someone who doesn't genuinely care about your perspective or your well-being, you're giving them power over your choices. You're inviting their judgment, their opinions, and often their criticisms into a space that should belong solely to you. And the truth is, some people aren't interested in understanding you, they're more interested in controlling or questioning you. Think about how many times you've felt the need to explain why you've made a certain decision, set a boundary, or walked away from something that wasn't serving you. You may have found yourself over-explaining, desperately trying to make someone see your side. But did it bring you peace? Did it change their perspective? More often than not, it only left you feeling drained, frustrated, or invalidated. Not everyone deserves access to your thought process. Some people will never understand your journey because they're not walking it with you. They're not living your life, experiencing your struggles, or carrying your dreams. And that's okay. Their lack of understanding doesn't diminish the validity of your choices. Offering explanations can sometimes feel like an obligation, especially when you care about someone or fear their judgment. But explanations often invite unnecessary debates and even open doors for manipulation. People may try to talk you out of your decisions, convince you that you're wrong, or impose their opinions on you, when you know in your heart that you're making the right choice for yourself. Those explanations become a trap, a way for others to exert influence over your life. It's important to recognize that silence can be a boundary. When you choose not to explain yourself, you're asserting your right to live your life on your terms. You're saying, I trust myself and I don't need your validation to move forward. This isn't about shutting people out, it's about protecting your peace and your purpose. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing peace over chaos, for prioritizing your growth, or for walking away from a situation that no longer aligns with your values. These are personal decisions rooted in self-awareness and self-love. Explaining them to people who aren't invested in your happiness is not only unnecessary, but also counterproductive. And let's be real, not everyone will agree with your choices. Some people will misunderstand you, judge you, or even try to twist your intentions.